The stakes are higher.
I watched a video on how to speak better.
Oh yeah?
I have to stop cursing so much. So
No, that's the best
people
part.
call me for advice because I'm gonna charge them. You're not.
Okay.
And they always call you because they're like, yeah, that idiot probably can do an oil change, but he could probably be a really good roofer. Yeah, I get fired up.
Yeah, I know.
I get angry, and then I swear a lot. So I was like, man. So we're recapping the port.
Yeah. For everyone that wasn't there, or maybe you were there and you didn't make one of the days. I was talking to somebody that said I just went too hard the first 2 days. I didn't make the third one. Well, Sunday and Monday they went too hard. They didn't get the Tuesday was I think one of the best days.
Well, it's
Um,
something I always tell. I tell anybody that's like sponsors the event or sponsors the show. I'm always like, it's a three-tiered thing, right? So it's like you're gonna have people that don't listen to the show that come to the event, and people that likewise are in the Facebook group that don't listen to the show. So there's like three separate things about what we do, and not everybody is 100% versed with us. So that's why I'm kind of like, man, like I seem like probably like a semi-reasonable smartass on Facebook. I don't swear in all of my typed out sentences. And then they're like, what? Like, I was a little like James from WSIA didn't see my thing, and I was kind of happy because I was like, thank God, man. Because if he's got to come in, then
oh,
he
they
probably is
take they
putting a
take my
weird.
boat test presentation.
Yeah, because he's like, oh my God, is this guy gonna get up there and like pull you know what I mean? Pull what he just pulled here. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm probably a little bit more prepared for it, for theirs, because for me, I'm just like, well, I assume that somebody's got some level of engagement with us, and they kind of know what they're in for a little bit. But I'm not gonna go to a rival and say some wild shit. It's called attraction marketing, guys. You should try it. It's been in business forever. It's not like I do swear a lot, but not near the level of like when I'm on the show or depending on how wild I want to get.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so you guys missed out. And
yeah, you
Greg's
did.
presentation,
Honestly,
yeah.
so we did. So the port was the 21st and 22nd. We had roughly 180 attendees. If I mean, we had people from all over the world. Really, I mean, we had someone from Ecuador come. We had the Auto Track guys from Croatia. Some people from Canada. I mean, we really brought people together from all over. And we went to St. Augustine, beautiful city. And the weather was kind of a little weird, but we made it
Florida.
work. Florida, yeah. But overall, just like it was really successful. I think it went better than even Kevin and I expected it to be. And just seeing everybody there, making new friends, learning from each other, like this is exactly why we do these events and why it's needed in our industry. So, we could spend hours talking about it, Kevin. But I mean, for you, like, what were the highlights of the port?
Like personally, was your
Yeah.
presentation a culmination of 4 years of me zinging you all thoughtfully put together. I feel like you could have really. I feel like you could have stepped it up though, like in the in betweens when you're dressed up as me. Like I thought, like looking back
Yeah.
on it, I was like, no swearing, no dumb stuff. Like you could have
Oh,
like
I could have gone.
totally.
I mean, I didn't. I was so busy planning the port that I couldn't. I couldn't do nearly what I want. So, it. I'm going to. So, Tristan, our editor, I'm gonna have him edit in the audio part of the video, so you guys can hear that, and then
Fucking,
yeah.
fucking.
So basically, what I did was I used an AI program of Donald Trump, and I created this like really funny video, but I also created this like a Halloween costume of Kevin would be. So I had the tattoo sleeves, the Crocs, the Diet Coke, the mag. It was so funny. People
Yeah,
were laughing.
it was
It was
really
great.
good.
I
It
mean,
was really
and the
good.
thing is, like, it was the first. So it's Monday morning, the first day of the event. It's 9 a.m. and we just like hit everyone with it, and literally like that's a perfect way to break the ice because it's like okay, everyone knew right then and there that this was going to be a fun conference. So,
Yeah, it was it
but
was it was really set up well. When you the setup on it, when you're like, oh, my son wanted a Halloween costume, that was a little
yeah,
fun and a little scary, and I was like, that kind of sounds like me. And then it went right into the video. I was like, yep, that's it. That's where he was going with that. That was pretty good.
You knew it.
I was like, there's a good me joke coming, I feel like. And
Well, the video, I
beyond
actually
just a joke.
posted the video in the Facebook group, so most of you saw it. But if you're not a Facebook person and you listen to the show, go to our Facebook group, and you'll actually get to see the video that I showed everybody. But that's the start of the event. That's how we started it off. And then Monday we just did a lot of sponsor presentations, but the sponsor presentations were extremely informative. Like, they're giving nuggets of value of like how you can level up your business and certain information. I really thought the VQuip's presentation was really interesting regarding like the comparison of insurance in the auto industry with car rentals opposed to water sports. And it makes, like, I didn't really put those two and two together as much, but I'm listening to Cam, CEO of VQuip, and that, like, it makes sense. Like, why is it so easy to get, car rental insurance?
Because everyone's got car rental insurance. So everyone's got insurance who's renting a car. That nobody has boat rental insurance, which is kind of like, I could see if like VQuip was coming in with that, but I don't necessarily think like the legislature kind of knows that. So as a free market concept, I love it. As far as it being a law, I'm like, oh, well, cool. I mean, I guess we'll get into it on the next episode, but I just got my insurance quote back. And it's like, it's in order of magnitude, it's horrible. It's terrible. It's 3x what we were paying. Okay. So it's like, Shit. Oh, hey, look at you, don't move.
When my camera heard that quote, it just went.
Yeah, it was like.
Its mind. Yeah, it started moving around and everything because it hurt.
So, I mean, we'll talk about it with the FWC, I'm like, man, I don't have any loss runs. But so in theory, as a free market product, I agree with it. I get it. And then I think like their hands aren't even so handcuffed, right? Where they can offer like different levels of protection and be more affordable. But the problem is that it's quite literally a law, not something like everybody can jump into and make work.
Yeah.
So. But as far as presentations go, I think like, and I don't want to get off track here, but to some of the stuff that we're going to get into in our next episode, I think it's going to be in line with what some of the stuff with SB 606 we've actually kind of missed and haven't had an opportunity to talk about. So I love their presentation.
We touched a little bit on SB 606, but not everyone there was from Florida, so we didn't want to dig too deep into it. I thought American and Brennan from Propelican Von Mack, excellent job. Just a lot of value, of marketing and distribution, PPC. The first day was really cool. And then, our roundtables, as always, are kind of like the highlight of the event, where you get into these small groups, sessions with different operators with similar concerns and problems, and just kind of hash out what they're doing and how they're benefiting. I mean, I had multiple people come up to me, and this is like every single year it's the same thing. It's like, we're going to come back, like Nathan Knight from Sunset Watersports in Key West. He's like, I'm going to go back with that one thing he learned about priority boarding as an add-on. So, just a quick overview of it. So basically, if you have a multi-passenger tour boat, you can implement a percentage-based option or a dollar option where you can charge a little bit more so they can get on the boat first. It could be 5% or 10% more. And he's like, I'm going to go back to Key West, implement this, and I know I'm going to make tens of thousands of dollars more just from that little nugget I'm going to bring back. And that's what, that's just one thing that I heard from somebody leaving with it. And that's what it's all about. Like, you don't go to these events and walk away with a ton of things every time. It might be that just one thing that sticks that you can implement quickly and you're going to see the results immediately. So that $200 ticket he just paid for is going to turn, the ROI on it is what, 100x. So so that was one of the things that I heard. And obviously, I think Kevin, I think you can agree with this, is that the Lifetime Achievement Award with Kevin Nobis was probably one of our favorite. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'll tell you one person who wasn't there, and I think it's something that I'm a little leery about giving the keys to the kingdom away sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like Dustin had a conflict, but he's one of our sponsors, one of our corporate sponsors on the show. And I feel like that people are like, even a few years ago when people were like late to the game on Google Ads, I think anyone who's not employing a CRM and automations into their phones is really missing the boat, because I to this point of like the tech and all of this stuff, like there's been this shift in the industry where everyone's like, book online, book online, book online. But however, like there's still like a really large segment of people still calling. And I think there's a ton of missed opportunity there. And I think those of us who had the conversations outside of the presentations and roundtables, that are like hammering this again, are saying like, oh man, we're really seeing movement with employing a CRM and employing automations and finding silos for your products and conversations for chat, because we literally have all of our products inside of a conversion assist. I mean, we built it internally, but with the help with Dustin. So I'm not plugging hard for Dustin. Well, I am, but it's just I'm plugging hard for CRMs and automations, because I think that's like one of the actionable things that we didn't have a roundtable at, but that we did a roundtable last year, that operators are like, yeah, man, holy shit, this makes all the sense in the world, and this really like takes a lot off my plate and helps our sales and brings in more money. And so it's something like that tidbit of information that you can walk away with, or priority boarding upsell. It literally is the one thing that's like, oh man, I'm gonna walk away with this if you put the time and effort and energy into it. I wasn't in the room for Ilya's presentation, but it was stacked. The concierge network that Nathan put together was stacked. And it just goes right back to what the foundation of the port and the show is. It's really best practices for small business owners that we've been historically, a lot of times we don't have the money or the tools or the know-how to implement some of these things that companies have been implementing for years before, like from day one of the show that we talked about, whether it be Disney World or Apple or any one of these massive companies that are in an economy of scale are employing every day. And now today, it's much easier to have the tools and the ability in some of these out-of-the-box softwares and service providers like Dustin or any one of our marketing people that can really take you to the next phase. I love the presentation on that Kai and from Destin Pontoon Charter. I forgot her name.
That's Brittany Miller.
Just out of the box concepts for tourism or for tour products and the experiential, because it's something we've all heard, I think, at Arrival, but it's like we don't really pound that message down their throat. And so I think a lot of people that are new to conferences, are new to the concept of networking, are sort of hearing it for the first time. But I mean, we've talked about it for years, obviously, but it's just not like.
Just to add some context to what Kevin was saying, we had a panel for trends in tours and charters, and we had Kai Copper from Tourscale, Brittany Miller from Destin Pontoon Charters, and Adrian Cardinal from Shore Thing, Tiki Cruises. So we talked about all the different trends, and there's two things that I did a little research before the panel and found that there was a 500% increase in searches for boat rental with captain since 2019. And there also was a 300% increase in searches for tiki tours. So there's this trend that we're seeing, and Kevin, and we're seeing this in our businesses, and I'm seeing it on Trip Shock, is that people want to be entertained and not be responsible for it. So they want a captain to take them out. They want a themed experience. They want something different that's not commoditized. And it shows, like, Kai and Adrian, I think they've made a lot of good points on what they're seeing and why it's popular. Brittany from Destin Pontoon Charters pretty much stole the panel when she started talking about how she got 40% business from TikTok
organic.
and then one of the guys in the audience, Donnie Cooper, he's an agency, and he just could not get over the fact that she did 40%. But she, like she said, timing and persistence and getting the right message out to her TikTok following really made an impact. So, sometimes it's not always about having the best content or the best message out there, but also being in there at the right time, building your following at the right time. And I felt like I was there when I started Trip Shock years ago. Like I felt like I was in there at the right time, maybe a little bit early, and kind of rode the wave. So I mean,
But I
yeah,
also like I also want to be like clear here that like Destin Pontoon Charter and Sure Thing and I mean so when it comes to those two companies like Sure Thing and Tour Scale, like they're also selling you on this idea of like how to create experience or good ideas for experiences. And I
yeah,
think don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of value there, but I also feel like this also can be information that you glean from the service industry. I read a great book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and Will Gadara wrote it, who's the owner of Madison, 11 Madison Park or 11
mhm,
Madison Square, fine dining establishment in New York, and like this whole idea of having like an experiential restaurant environment or experience or whatever have you through providing great ideas. Like you don't necessarily have to like buy into having a tiki boat. Like you can
yeah,
literally and we
exactly.
see it happening here in Destin. There's a lot of these companies that are like, yeah, we're going to bring a floating Bluetooth and we're going to have X, Y, and Z, and we're really going to put this into having experience. It's something I've always believed in, and I think you can really do it with. I think you can do it with anything. But in that room, in those 2 days, I think there's a lot of operators that were really exploring that
Yeah,
concept, exploring that from anything that you do, and which was
it's
sort of
it's
like
more
my
about,
keynote a little bit as well.
yeah, it's like we, a lot of us sell commoditized products, a boat rental, a boat tour, and the message is that people want something more. They want to be able to customize it. They want an experience, and I think it's like during COVID, it didn't matter what you offered. Everyone just bought whatever they could get. I mean, literally, it was like, using dynamite for fishing. Like people just booked everything. Now it's gotten a lot more competitive. We also see an increase in affluent travelers that are willing to pay more for a more unique experience. So there's a lot of factors kind of coming into play, but the bottom line is that people want to be entertained. They want something themed. They want maybe a captain driving the boat opposed to renting themselves. Not to say there's a huge market for renting boats still. It's just these are trends that you might be able to capitalize on and introduce into your fleets to capture a certain percentage of the market that you might not be getting right now.
Yeah, I think the overall theme of it was like generally how to provide a better experience, and through those efforts that you make more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's sort of right, like what everybody's there for. When you look at the round tables that allude to making more money, like
Hmm.
all of those round tables were packed. I guess I would say that the biggest challenge of the weekend was, and again, just from cursory feedback, was that people were really like torn about what
What
roundtables
round
because
tables to choose? Yeah,
we
yeah.
did have so much, and so people were like, man, if there's only a way for me to get into like three or four of these rather than two of them, and we have to take that feedback
We will.
and
Yeah.
hopefully figure out how we can not have more roundtables. Just I don't know, maybe shorten them up. I
So
don't.
if you were an attendee, I am gonna have all the roundtable hosts provide a summary of what they discussed, and I will send that out to everybody when I send the surveys.
Good luck.
So
Good
yeah,
luck on
I,
getting that
I,
one, man. Like you couldn't even get them to give them your presentations, like present
I'll
company
get them.
included.
I'll get them. I mean, for the sponsors, it makes a lot of sense because they'll get another touch point. But anyways, we only have like maybe 5 minutes, Kevin. But I want to just make a point about our lifetime achievement award, Kevin Novus,
Yeah, I wanted to
because
touch on that too, for sure.
because I mean, you did an awesome introduction of Kevin. It was beautiful, but what really made it special is that when Kevin was there, I mean, just to give you guys some context, nobody knows who's going to get the award. It's subjective. Kevin and I, we talk to each other. We don't do nominations. It's not a popularity contest. We look at who is contributing and making a difference in our industry, and then we award that. They got to be in the game for a long time. It can't be something that you get. It's a lifetime award, right? So when we chose Kevin and we announced him, it was obviously, it's always going to be a shock because they had no idea. But what things he said up there about how he went through 3 hurricanes. He had to rebuild completely. All the shit that he's been going through, and he shares like he wasn't sure when he came to the port if he was going to even continue because of everything. And then he gets this award and gets recognized by his peers, and like how awesome that is. And like even me saying it right now, like, chokes me up a little bit, but like the timing of it couldn't have been perfect, right, for us to acknowledge him and recognize all he's done. So
Yeah, Kevin's one of the operators that I do talk to on a regular basis, at least once a month or so. If I'm like, hey man, in a minute I'll text him something stupid. He's like, definitely, and he was like, he was actually Greg brought up Kevin, because Greg's always giving him away. So I guess like I've never experienced that before. Like, oh man, you know what I mean? Because I always just think like lifetime achievement award, right? Like it doesn't mean anything to anyone. They're not gonna be like, yeah, fucking cool. They're all not as jaded and callous as I am. You know what I mean? But yeah, to see that, like to see like look on his face and like see how much he did appreciate it, it was super cool. And it was now I see like why you're like, oh man, you're excited about who we're gonna pick. And so that was by far my favorite moment of the whole thing. Like I just 100% that moment there was super, super.
perfect way to
it was emotional.
cap off the whole event.
Yeah, but it was. Yeah, it was a massive success. If you missed out, there's always next year, and don't miss it next year because, yeah, it was, a little pat on the back for Gregory and I for each other, and a huge pat on the back for Greg because he really did the lion's share of the work on it. So it's just a kudos to you.
Kevin gets the sponsors. I will say that. So
I do the
they say no to me, and then he calls them, and then they write him a check. But
every once in a blue moon.
Next year is going to be about the same time, most likely. It's going to be in Florida. Just expect that to be hopefully past hurricane season. And Kevin and I will be at the WSIA Parasailing Symposium the week of November
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. We're both sponsoring. Yep. We're actually, we have 3 sessions. Do you know that we're opening up the session? After they do announcements, it goes right into our session. So we are like the keynote, I guess.
Neato.
But not maybe the de facto keynote anyways. But yeah,
I
Kevin
can't wait to hear myself talk more.
We have a live podcast that we're going to do too on one of the days. But yeah, we really look forward to that event.
Yeah.
I think
TMBT is doing like a super fun giveaway. I'm not gonna.
Okay, all right.
It's gonna be a surprise, but it'll be after dinner. We're doing a fun giveaway and like a little contest and a game. It's gonna be great. I can't even take credit for it. I think it was. I don't even know if Steve can take credit for it. I actually think it was Linda from AMP Agency who came up with this, but it's gonna be. Those of you guys who are in the parasailing world and love getting into like boat nerdy shit, man, like and being competitive, you're gonna love it.
And you can come to the event. It's $159 for members and $219 for non-members, but you can come to the event if you're not parasailing operator. Honestly, and I recommend you do because it's kind of going to be a little similar vibe to the port as far as who attends. And if you're looking to get into parasailing or just want to like network with other water sport operators, it is a good event to go to. And they're upping the game. Like this year, it's more entrepreneurial focused rather than just like safety, which is important too. But they're changing the programming a little bit that I think is going to appeal to more like non-water sport folks.
A wider range of small business owners.
So
if you missed it, sorry. If you guys want to get some more of me and Greg, you can see us at the Parasail Symposium put on by the WSIA November 12th and 13th. That's in Coral Gables. And yeah,
I think it's Cape Coral. Is it Cape Coral?
What did I say? Coral Gables?
Yeah, Coral Gables, Cape Coral.
And hold on. Give me a second. You can get that on WSIA.net.
Yeah, WSIA.net and go there. All right, and
POS.WSIA.net. I don't even.
Which is one big shout out to our sponsors for the port.
Yes.
If you go to watersportpodcast.com and click sponsors, you can see a list of our sponsors and see what they offer and all that. So that's it. We appreciate it. Thank you all for the whole. Thank you to all those who attended, and we look forward to seeing you next year. And just keep listening.
And keep it awkward.
Keep it awkward. All right, let's jump to the other.